Hey folks, it's me hobbling around again, bringing another video to you. Hopefully this is not too repetitive, but I'm just wondering what your first response is when you come across a guitar brand that you have no knowledge of. I find it kind of interesting to see what the reaction is of different members of the guitar community. It ranges from absolute disgust to mistrust to curiosity, and all things in between. It's quite baffling, and remember, I see literally dozens of people, sometimes a week, sometimes every 2 weeks, but a lot of people per month that are coming across, excuse me, as per my sales, brands that they have no knowledge of, and of course I do my best to educate them and talk about the world as it is now. It's not governed by 4 brands anymore. Most guitar manufacturers don't make their own instruments. A lot of things are jobbed out. There's a lot of OEM guitars on the market. That sort of stuff that we've covered in many videos prior to this one on this channel. But anyway, this here is a Pro Dipe guitar, and these are really nice auditorium guitars, sort of open pore finished, nice sapele, with a solid spruce top. This is an Italian company, and this is the SA29SP. And I've done videos on Pro Dipe guitars before, so I'm not going to make this particularly about this brand. But this is a brand that baffles people. When they see this, I've had many reactions. One person, who bought one of these, had all these questions, and I told him it was a French brand, but they were mostly made in Asia, like most guitar brands are. But the company is French, and like Log, another French brand, they're an up-and-coming company. They make nice guitars, good parts. They don't always come with the ultimate setup, but if you can do some setup or can have somebody do some setup for you, these make really, really nice guitars. And the prices fluctuate online, so you can pick them up really cheap sometimes, but they're not dirt cheap. They're not bottom feeder guitars. I mean, these are nicely made, solid top. For the most part, they do make some entry-level stuff, but a lot of their stuff is solid spruce and fully bound, graphite nut and saddle, nice die-cast tuners, and so far I've had good luck with this brand. So the person that had all these questions, I sat with them for 20-25 minutes, answered all the questions. They finally got over their timidity about buying an unknown brand and bought one of these from me, and within 2 weeks they had called me to have 2 more shipped to their friends. So through that conversation I ended up selling 3 of these things because the person was so impressed with them. That's what I call an open mind. Of course, it took a while to open the person's mind, but they were willing to look beyond the common 4 or 5 brands of acoustic guitars and entertain a completely new and unknown to them dimension in guitar making. I've had exactly the opposite response. I had a scathing letter from somebody on Craigslist that basically attempted to tear me to shreds, although I didn't review it with any seriousness at all, for selling junk guitars like Pro Dipe. And they actually quoted the brand Pro Dipe because they'd seen a couple. And it was just the fact that they had seen a couple of guitars that they had no reference to. And these are usually people that have some experience in the guitar world. And so they think that they have this unlimited knowledge, and if anything comes outside of that domain of knowledge, it can't be good. You can't introduce something new to them that's good. There's a lot of people like this in the guitar or even the instrument world proper. And I'm baffled by it, but I could run into them all the time. Now, of course, if you want to buy Guild, Martin, Taylor, or even second-tier branding like Siegel, Bedell, Breedlove, great. I love those guitars. I've done videos about them, and I pick up those guitars when I can as well. I love Seagulls. I love all the Godin brand guitars. You know, I have a Taylor. I have a Martin. I have what else do I have? I have a Guild, and I have a couple of Alvarez Yaris that you know, considered to be top brands and makers. But I also have a slew of other guitars that I've kept that I haven't sold on, that are from makers that I'm hearing about for the first time. And a lot of them have made it to video on this channel. And a lot of you have enjoyed or expressed enjoyment at finding out about some of these things. Some of you have even bought some. I had one of my regular listeners, buy a lug classical from me and expressed deep joy in getting it out of the box and playing it for the first time, and I concur. I love my log. So it's interesting that you have such a varied and deeply different response to branding and unknown brands or unbranded guitars and things like that. And you know, I can tell within about 2 minutes when people come to my house whether it's, oh, what's that? I've never heard of that. Or it's, oh, what's that? That can't be good. You can sense the attitude fairly quickly. But I'm just wondering what the general consensus is on that. I love discovering new brands. There's all kinds of stuff out there. I find out about new things, new guitars, every day, at least every week. I mean, I only found out about Firefly recently. I've only known about the Idlewild guitars over the last year and a half or so. I'm fairly new to log guitars. I'm fairly new to these guitars. The JN line has popped up over recent months. You know, Clevon, you know, all the guitars made by these really interesting online shippers like Rondo are making the, you know, or was it Omega acoustics, and of course Harley Benton has their own acoustic line as well as electrics. You know, Monoprice has all the Idlewild acoustics, the Cedar one being fantastic for the money, and a couple of you have bought those on my recommendation. So I just love it. When I hear about, so I got something the other day, I saw an ad for a guitar on Wish.com. I've never used Wish.com, but it looked like a really cool all mahogany guitar that was going really, really cheap. So I may pull the trigger on that, and that may show up on a video in the next few weeks. I can't imagine being closed to all these discoveries. There's lots of good guitar makers out there beyond the top manufacturers. You know, getting into the boutique guitars, getting into the small enclaves of guitar making, people making just parlors, people making just OM style guitars, some people doing all mahogany only, some people doing spruce, cedar, exotic wood guitars. You're starting to see the striped ebony backed guitars now because rosewood's becoming scarce. So there's lots of specialization, there's lots of interesting new dynamic enclaves of activity in the guitar making world. Some of it's crap, most of it's crap, most of it will rule out. But I think everybody who watches this channel and sticks around for a while is like me. They think, well, there's some interesting things to discover, and there's some bargains to be had for little money. And if you can do a little bit of setup, which is what I always preach on this channel, you can find some really interesting and good performing guitars for a lot less than we paid 10, 15, 20 years ago when we got into this thing. And also, you know, if you buy something that's not up to your liking, you return it or you resell it. You set it up, make it play good, and you move it on. So, yeah, I can't conceive of being anything but open-minded, but I do run into a lot of people that just put up a wall of 4 or 5 brands, and that's all that they're going to entertain. Sometimes it's only 2 brands or 1 brand even, and everything else is crap, or everything made in China is crap, or everything Asian is crap. Anyway, just wondering what you think. When you discover something completely unknown, what's your first impulse? To check it out, to review it, to look up some reviews of other people who have bought it, to find videos on it, or to completely dismiss it as more imported guff from the Far East? You tell me. See you next time.